Hi and welcome to Ginge Under the Sea for another shark talk. Today we're going to be talking about a shark species that hangs around in eerie shipwrecks, comes up to the surface to gulp air, and their pups are actually born experienced hunters. Now I'm talking about the spotted ragged-toothed shark. So let's dive straight in. The spotted ragged-toothed shark is actually known around the world through a few different names. If you are in Australia, you'll know it as the grey nurse shark. If you're in the USA, you'll know it as the sand tiger shark. And if you are in South Africa or in Europe, you'll know it as the spotted ragged-toothed shark. And this is why we use Latin names to make sure that across the world it is called the same thing. And the spotted ragged-tooth's Latin name is Carcharias Taurus. Now there are actually 3 different species of ragged-toothed sharks. As I mentioned, the spotted ragged-toothed shark, which is the one we're going to talk about today. There is also the small-toothed ragged-toothed shark and the big-eye ragged-toothed shark, both of which are much bigger and much rarer than the spotted ragged-toothed shark, and we're not really going to go into any detail about those 2 species today. We're going to be focusing on the spotted ragged-toothed shark, or Carcharias taurus. The ragged-toothed shark family is in fact inside the mackerel shark order, or the lamniformes order, which includes sharks such as the great white and the mako shark. However, you'll learn from this video the ragged-toothed sharks actually vary massively from their oceanic fast-swimming cousins like the great whites. So, where are ragged-toothed sharks found? There are 3 main populations of ragged-toothed sharks around the world. One of them along the east coast of the USA, one of them along the east coast of South Africa and a small southern part of Mozambique, and then another population off of Queensland in Australia. Now there was known to be a very small population of ragged-toothed sharks in the Mediterranean. However, there hasn't been a sighting there for over 30 years, and it is thought that that population is possibly extinct now due to overfishing and other threats in the Mediterranean. They're found in inshore waters near the coast and generally in water shallower than 50 meters deep. And this is why they are such a popular shark to dive with, due to the fact that the depth that they hang out at is very accessible to most divers. Another reason they are so popular to dive with is their size, and they can reach up to 3.2 meters long, which is a big shark, but they generally are between 2 to 3 meters. However, they're very slow and docile animals, and they pose no threat to humans. As you can see in this video of me freediving with them, they're very calm and passive animals. In fact, their diet consists mainly of small fish that actually fit inside their mouth, so only fish that are around a foot long will be in their diet, and they will occasionally eat crustaceans such as crabs or sharks and rays if they're small enough. Now the ragged-toothed shark generally hunts at night and is a very sluggish predator. It doesn't actually pursue its meals like a lot of the other sharks do. However, it will slow around slowly and wait for fish to be swimming past and near its head, and it will actually do a sideways lunge motion and grab the fish as they're near its head and then pull it back into its mouth. The ragged-toothed shark's teeth are perfectly designed for this, as they act like just 2 sets of forks. They're long and thin with no serrations, but they are perfect just for clamping down on a fish and grabbing it and capturing it before they can swallow that fish whole. Now let's talk about the 2 main things that make these sharks so incredibly unique. And the first one is that they are ovoviviparous. Now this alone doesn't make them unique. There are many other sharks that are ovoviviparous, such as the great white shark. And if you want to learn more about the different methods of reproduction that sharks use, then check out my video, which should be popping up somewhere around here now, and you can learn all about the 3 different methods that sharks use. Now, what does make the ragged-toothed shark's reproduction so unique is when the pups grow to a certain size inside of the mum's uterus, they start performing something called interuterine cannibalism. And this is when these pups will swim around and will actively hunt and eat the other embryos inside the uterus. So they will actually be actively killing and eating their brothers and sisters as a food source. Now, female ragged-toothed sharks have 2 compartments to their uterus. So this means that ragged-toothed sharks will only ever give birth to 2 pups, 1 surviving pup in each compartment. And you can see in this video the movement of the pup inside the female's uterus. You can see that slight movement in the belly area of the shark. This is very similar to when a human baby would kick inside the mother's uterus. The gestation period, or the length of pregnancy for ragged-toothed sharks, is around 8 to 12 months, and the pups are born at nearly a meter long, so it's just under half the size of an adult. Now, the fact that they're born this large means that they have much fewer predators than they would do if they were born much smaller, and therefore they have a much higher survival rate. So another really unique feature of the ragged-toothed sharks is that they can actually hover above the sea floor. Now, all sharks are negatively buoyant. Because they don't have swim bladders, they can't control their buoyancy, and all sharks, if they stop swimming, will sink to the sea floor. Now, ragged-toothed sharks have found a way around this by coming up to the surface, as you can see in this video, and actively gulping air into their stomachs. This actually creates a temporary small swim bladder, which provides that extra bit of buoyancy, so they are actually neutrally buoyant and can hover above the sea floor motionless, which saves them a lot of energy. Now, the biggest threats to ragged-toothed sharks are slightly different to a lot of other shark species, since they are not out in the oceanic zone or in deep waters where a lot more commercial fishing happens, and also they are not particularly prevalent in the tropics and in Southeast Asia, which is where a lot of the shark fishing and shark finning happens. Their main threats are actually through recreational fishing and also shark culling devices such as shark nets and shark drum lines, which are there as bather protection, due to the fact that they only ever have 2 pups, and it's well known that ragged-toothed sharks generally have 2 or 3 years in between reproductive cycles because of the amount of energy that it takes to create these 2 very, very well developed young. They are particularly vulnerable to decline, and in fact the Australian population of ragged-toothed shark are considered critically endangered on the IUCN Red List. Luckily, they are getting more protection and their numbers are starting to stabilize. However, globally, ragged-toothed sharks are considered vulnerable, and therefore that means that they are still vulnerable to extinction in the near future if they are not protected more. Now, the South African population of ragged-toothed sharks is thought to be a bit healthier than the Australian population. However, they still have a lot of stresses, as there are a high number of shark nests along the east coast of South Africa, and also there are very high numbers of recreational fishermen along the coast that actively target ragged-toothed sharks and other shark species. Even though a lot of these fishermen will release the sharks back in the ocean and will not kill them, the stress induced from this fishing can cause injuries and can cause fatalities after release, particularly in pregnant females. It is thought that the capture of pregnant females can cause premature birth or stress-induced abortion of the pups, and this obviously will have a devastating effect on populations if this is happening to many of the pregnant females. And these pregnant females actually migrate up the coast of South Africa across a lot of high risk and high fishing zones. So thank you so much for joining today. I hope you have learned a lot. If you got some value from today, then do click the like button below. Remember, each one of us can make a difference and can help protect these incredible animals through our daily actions, whether that is through signing petitions, educating more people about sharks, or whether it's through changing your seafood habits and what you put on your plate. Each of us can start helping protect sharks every day in our daily activities. I really hope you enjoyed today's talk, took a lot from it, and continue to love and protect sharks. So don't forget to subscribe to continue to learn more about shark species, shark conservation, marine conservation on a whole, and generally everything about the ocean and what we can do to protect it. So don't forget to click the subscribe button, and I'll see you in the next video. Thanks so much for joining.